Shalom, I give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. I give double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to all you sincere brothers pushing us right across the four corners of the world. And this is just a quick news update concerning biblical prophecy. And this is from ZeroHedge.com. And the title says, why are so many Americans stockpiling guns, silver, and food right now? And this was published on February the 7th, 2021. We were told that 2021 would be the year when everything starts to get back to normal, but that hasn't exactly been the case, has it? It has been just over a month, and there still is chaos everywhere. We have seen a wild riot at the U.S. Capitol. Civil unrest has been erupting in major cities from coast to coast. Millions of people have filed for unemployment benefits, a president was impeached, and a crazy riot on Wall Street made GameStop a national phenomenon. That would normally be enough for an entire year, but we are still in the first week of February. All throughout history, there have been critical turning points when events have greatly accelerated. And it appears that we have reached one of those turning points. In fact, this may turn out to be the biggest turning point of them all. Millions upon millions of Americans can sense that big trouble is ahead. For many, it is like a gut feeling that they just can't shake. And that's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua pointing out that type of vibration upon these different Americans. And most of them might not know or believe into a higher power, something divine, but he's pointing out that type of vibration upon them that they can sense something is not right here. Things are not adding up because we are in some very prophetic times. And you watch different movies or shows on Netflix, you will see more and more apocalyptic type of movies or shows. And the word apocalyptic goes into pertaining to the imminent end of the world. So we are approaching the end of this so-called white man's rulership, the end of his chapter, his age, who are the biblical Edomites. So that's why things are unfolding throughout this whole society, and all these type of things are transpiring. Because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is about to lay the smackdown in this place, America. On jump down, it says, our nation is being shaken in thousands of different ways, and so many of us can feel the things are building up to some sort of a grand crescendo, which means a high point of intensity or force. So that's why so many Americans are stockpiling guns, silver, and food right now. They want to be ready for what is ahead. 2020 was a record year for U.S. gun purchases, but instead of slowing down in January, gun sales went even higher. And it says one of the biggest reasons why people feel a need to be armed right now is because crime rates have been absolutely skyrocketing. In particular, murder rates in our major cities rose by an average of 30% last year. Murder rates in nearly 36 American cities exploded in 2020, rising 30% over the previous year. Rising 30% over the previous year, resulting in 1,200 more deaths from murder last year when compared to 2019. According to a new study examining possible connections between crime, the C-19 pandemic, and protests against police brutality. And that's pursuant to Matthew, the 24th chapter, the 12th verse. Iniquity shall abound, and the love of many is going to wax cold. So the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his son, Yahushua, is pouring out that spirit of hostility more and more into these Americans. And this so-called pandemic was a right major crisis to stop a lot of these different Americans in their plans, because a lot of them thought this so-called pandemic was just going to pass over for a short period of time and things would go back to normal. So that's messing up a lot of their plans within their careers, their livelihoods, just family time, vacation time, just living a regular American normal way of life. So these Americans are getting more unsettled. And a lot of them are now researching these things out. Due to this so-called pandemic, a lot of these Americans are not able to go to work. So most of them are working from home now. Or you have a lot of them being unemployed due to this so-called pandemic again. So that's giving them more time to research and check things out. And that's why nowadays, if you see a video concerning this so-called pandemic or this C-19, you will see more dislikes on these videos compared to likes. But back when this C-19 virus first came around, you had a lot of these Americans being shaken up in the spirit. So of course you would see more likes compared to dislikes. So a lot of things are coming out by this so-called pandemic, and a lot of these different Americans are waking up. So they feel within their spirit something is not right here. Things are not adding up. So that's exactly why they run into these different gun stores and these gun sales are surging. So through the spirit, you can see how this is going to lead to sedition amongst men and going to all these different class wars, race wars. All of that is going to happen and take right here in the streets of America. I'll jump down. It says, in addition to gold and silver, Americans have also been feverishly stockpiling food. Wise Company estimated in 2018 that Americans were buying between $400 million and $450 million worth of emergency food supplies per year. And while Wise declined to release any specific revenue figures, Erickson tells CNBC Make It that the company saw its food sales surge by probably 5 or 6 times in 2020 amid the pandemic. In the long run, I will argue that food is more important than guns or silver because you can't eat guns or silver when you are hungry. And yes, things will eventually get that bad. Most people don't understand the specifics of what is coming. And it says, I would strongly encourage you to use this current period of relative stability to get prepared for the very uncertain times that are ahead of us. Everything that can be shaken will be shaken, and our society will soon be turned completely upside down. And that's pursuant to nothing but biblical prophecies. And that's good to see, as it says in Isaiah the 46th chapter, the 10th verse, declaring the end from the beginning. So we are definitely in the end days. And how the Heavenly Father counsel is going to stand. He will do all his pleasure. And part of the Heavenly Father's counsel through his son Yahushua is biblical prophecies are unfolding here, right before our very own eyes. Where you now have Americans coming to the forefront and telling you that things are not right here. They do not feel right within their spirits. They feel like we're approaching some apocalyptic type of times, these end times. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is shaking this place up spiritually, morally, economically, and very, very soon it's going to be physically. And this is Isaiah 26 verse 4. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength. Verse 5, for he bringing down them that dwell on high. And this can only be speaking about the tabernacle of Edom, beginning with these elites, this so-called Illuminati. Pursuant to the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, as it says, who opposeth and exalted himself above all, that is called the Most High, so that he is as the Most High, sitting in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Because these elites, they do away with the Heavenly Father's laws, statutes, and commandments, and they come up with their own laws, their own policies, their own guidelines and mandates. So throughout this course of time, while they have been ruling, pursuant to the book of Job 9:24, how the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, how they've been doing nothing but mischief and perverseness throughout this whole world, and the Heavenly Father hasn't reacted yet to their wicked deeds, they have become very prideful, and they feel like they can keep doing this forever. So that's exactly what the Heavenly Father Yahweh is doing. He's playing chess with them, and he's going to put them in their own trick bag. And that's all due to their pride. So that's why it says in the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, in the 21st verse, how the Most High is going to punish the hosts of the high ones, their own high, and the kings of the earth. And that's talking about these elites. And also trickling on down to these other nations who are in league with the tabernacle of Edom, beginning with these elites. So it says, for he bringing down them that dwell on high, the lofty city. And you go into the word lofty, it goes into proudful, high-minded, exalted. And that's the type of vibration that America, known as Babylon the Great, pushes out here. And it's all about the doings of the philosophies that come out through these elites. These Americans are very powerful within their military. In one of their military branches, you have the Marine Corps. And their slogan is, the few, the proud, the Marines. And also with this gay rights movement, you have this Pride Month that they celebrate religiously. If you read Isaiah the 13th chapter, how it says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, through the spirit, you know that's talking about America. Because that's that great exalted mountain that has that great influence via that golden cup that the Heavenly Father gave them, which is that Babylonian wine. And it has made these other nations follow the ways of America. So Isaiah 26:5 again, for he bringeth down them that dwell on high, the lofty city, he laid low, even to the ground. And how the Heavenly Father Yahweh through his son Yahushua is laying this place low spiritually through his prophets. prophesying the downfall of this place, America, revealing and manifesting all the wickedness that this place has been doing since it's been a so-called established country. Bringing up all the shame here in America, lifting up that skirt, where all these other nations throughout the whole world are seeing the shame of America. And you also have the whistleblowers as well, but mainly that's talking about the prophets of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, spiritually. And it says he bringeth it even to the dust. So America, known as Babylon the Great, the word Babylon goes to the Hebrew word Babal, which means confusion. So the Heavenly Father, Yahweh through his son, Yahushua, bringing this place, that dust, to that state of confusion. And the ultimate way that the Heavenly Father is going to lay this place low is through those nuclear missiles. That's why you send all the commotions and the rumors of wars throughout the news now. Because all these different countries are going to shoot their missiles on America, even America's allies. Then also Yahushua coming back with a host of angels, they're going to get down on America as well. Which leads me to Isaiah 47 verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust that stay of confusion, O virgin daughter of Babylon. And that's talking about America. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. See, everybody's seeing that shame of America. Just nothing but wickedness and wickedness has been transpired throughout this whole world. And that's all by the doings of this so-called white man who are the biblical Edomites. And that's why it's stated in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, speaking about America, Babylon the Great, how it says, for she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow, because this place has constantly glorified itself with riches through its deceits throughout this whole time frame. And that's through its philosophies, its democracy. It's manipulated a lot of people, a lot of nations. So all that guilt, all that shame, all that recklessness is coming back twofold on America, because she tried to present herself as a queen. But when you really take spiritual assessment of this place, you see how filthy it is. You see the mind frames of majority of these Americans. This place is very shameless. It has no type of morals. So Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is bringing this place down. And everybody's seeing that shame of America. So she's no longer called tender and delicate as she once was or portrayed to be. So this place is considered that virgin daughter because no warfare from these other nations has really taken place here in America. So when the Heavenly Father send those nuclear missiles over here to America, then those nuclear missiles are going to burst America's cherry. So you have to think about it. Of all the wrongdoing that this place America has been doing to its so-called citizens, especially the children of Israel, you touch the Most High's chosen people, the apple of his eye. And all the wickedness you have pursued to these other nations, taking their resources, murdering innocent civilians, all in the name of your democracy. You have poisoned this whole earth, the mind frames of these people. But it still says here in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, how America sit as a queen and shall see no sorrow. That's a very powerful statement. All the injury and wrongdoing that you have been causing on this earth and to the inhabitants of the earth, these elites in the spirit still feel like they should see no sorrow. And that's something the Heavenly Father Yahweh through his son Yahushua hates, is pride. And this is Proverbs, the 16th chapter and the 18th verse. Pride goeth before destruction. So America engulfs itself with nothing but pride. These Americans always brag about their military, how no other country can stand a fight with America. They just feel like this place will never be taken down. It will always stand up and be great again. That's how they look at it. But through the spirit, we know, as it says, pride goeth before destruction. So that's how we know that America is on its way out, because this is a very powerful, lofty city and haughty spirit before he fall. So we are approaching the downfall of America. And we are in those prophetic times, which goes back to the word apocalyptic, which means pertaining to the imminent end of the world. It's not talking about this whole world as earth. It's speaking about a certain age. And it's talking about the age of this so-called white man's rulership, his power structure throughout this world. We're coming to the end of that. And when we come to the end of that, that means we're coming to the end of wickedness. So it's beautiful to see through the spirit how these different Americans are being shaken up now. Things are not going their way. Things are not going back normal again. So that's putting them on that stage of being uneasy. They're being unsure about certain things throughout this world, because they feel within their spirits nowadays that things might not get back right or better again. So that's why a lot of these different Americans are going stockpiling on food, guns, silver, because we're approaching those apocalyptic type of times. And this is Ecclesiasticus, the 25th chapter and the 7th verse. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and a 10th I will utter with my tongue, a man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. So these Edomites and these other nations are definitely our enemies, pursuant to the book of Psalm, the 83rd chapter. And now we're seeing the downfall of this so-called white man within his rulership. So as it says in Matthew, the 13th chapter and 17th verse, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see. And we are seeing that now in this time frame, in 2021. And they're not going to be able to shake back and get back on top again. Once the Heavenly Father pull that rug from their rulership, it's over with. We're about to get ready to transition to a new phase, a new rulership on this earth. And that's going to be that righteous rulership under the umbrella of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. And all these other nations will bow down to Yahushua, who is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. So that's exactly why you're seeing things like this is transpiring throughout the world. Biblical prophecies are unfolding because we're at the end of this so-called white man's rulership. And these things has to transpire before Yahushua comes back and take his rightful throne on this earth. So with that, Lord willing, you all was edified. Y'all stay strong. Shalom.